Something many people don't know because in the international media, the focus on Israel is mostly, if not exclusively, on war and terrorism. But Israel and Israelis are highly focused on creating incredible cultural events, activities, and works of literature, art, and music. Let's explore it. Shalom, my friends. This is Akiva Gersh with Israel in 5, where we give you everything Israel in 5 minutes. Please like and subscribe. And if you have any questions, want to keep the conversation going, please do so below in the comments. It's quite astounding the number of musicians, bands, artists, writers, poets, albums, books that come out every single year here in Israel. We are a tiny little country surrounded by much, much bigger countries. One of the smallest countries in the world, population of approximately 9 million people, around the size of New Jersey, as people often like to say. Yet the cultural activities of this country are incredible. Right? Everywhere you go, there's new books coming out, new artists, bands coming out with new albums, new songs coming out. It seems like if you just look at the cultural activities, the number of books coming out, the songs and albums that are released every single year, you would think that Israel was one of the larger countries in the world. Yet we know that that's not the truth. For a small, tiny country, it is disproportionate, the amount of cultural works that come out of Israel every single year. Very similar and parallel to the high-tech industry here. For such a tiny country, there are so many startups and so many innovations and inventions that are coming out of Israel, impacting the world in incredible and positive ways. And the same thing we can say with the cultural world. It is really, really amazing. You go to a bookstore and see so many books every year coming out, new books in Hebrew, of course. Of course, there are those books that are written outside of Israel and translated into Hebrew, but just the number of authors here, and again, the number of musicians and the number of artists and the number of painters. It's really an inspiring thing, and it really goes back to the roots of this country, the roots of Zionism. One of the strong motivations for the creation of the state of Israel was not only a safe haven for the Jews in this world, although that was very important and that was definitely the most important reason for the creation of the state of Israel. There was a whole other movement called Cultural Zionism, which was about recreating the Jewish culture, recreating the Hebrew culture, recreating a Jewish connection to the arts and to music and to writing. While these things, of course, existed outside of the state of Israel and before the state of Israel, it took off in a whole different way, in an explosive way here in Israel. And it was really because some of the early leaders of the Zionist movement were focused specifically on that, opening up schools that would teach, a Hebrew or Jewish approach, so to speak, to plays and to art and to literature. Jews writing in Hebrew for the first time in over 2,000 years. And almost 80 years later, since the creation of the state of Israel, we're seeing the results, we're seeing that impact. And it's an amazing, amazing thing to see this. But it's not highlighted in the media outside of Israel because everyone's so focused on the wars and the terrorism and the conflict and the security issues here. It really overshadows what's happening internally in this country and really the incredible creativity and thirst for creation here in Israel amongst Israelis. In addition to that, connected to that is the whole world of healing arts. It's another world that has really taken off over the years, over the decades, and it has become a tremendous force here in the modern Jewish state. And when I would say healing arts, I mean all kinds of health and wellness practices and therapies and all kinds of treatments. Anything from classic yoga to all kinds of more modern experimental modalities. Israelis are very also into spirituality and to seeking and searching and into experiencing spirituality, both in the traditional Jewish context and being open to bringing in other traditions and other wisdom traditions. And so all these things you see very vibrantly here in the state of Israel. And during this current war, we're seeing a lot of these therapies and a lot of these health and wellness practices being offered for free to the soldiers. Thousands and thousands of them a day are getting visited by volunteers, both within Israel and Jews outside of Israel, willing and wanting to give of their time and of their experience to help with the healing process of these soldiers who are going through so much physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. So this is a little different kind of glimpse into the state of Israel, not from a political standpoint, not from a security standpoint, but from a cultural standpoint and from a spiritual standpoint. And these things are alive and well and thriving in the state of Israel, and a real inspiration and a real incredible, um, on some level, a miracle that the Jews have been able to not only recreate themselves politically in their ancient homeland, not only provide themselves with security and a strong defense force, but also recreate themselves culturally and spiritually in this land that they started in so many thousands of years ago. All the best, my friends, and be well.